Rangers fans, as this season reaches a moment that feels like a crossroads, the mood around the club mixes belief with unease. There is a sense that the team has steadied itself, that results have become more consistent under the current manager, but deeper questions remain unresolved. Supporters can see the problems that have lingered for too long: the lack of balance in key areas of the pitch, the absence of clear leadership in difficult moments, and the uncertainty surrounding long-term planning. Even after a recent victory at Ibrox by a gol marcado na segunda parte, the feeling is not one of celebration, but of relief. The performance showed improvement, the defensive structure held when it mattered, and the gap to the top of the table has narrowed. Yet the atmosphere does not allow anyone to relax. There is still a long road ahead, many matches to be played, and no guarantee that the current group has enough to sustain a true title push without reinforcement. The manager has made it clear that the team remains alive in the fight. He praised the work rate, highlighted the clean sheet, and insisted that the journey is far from finished. He pointed to individual displays that made the difference, particularly in goal, where a commanding performance reminded everyone why he continues to trust his number one. It felt like a message to the dressing room as much as to the supporters. This is not the time for panic. This is the time for focus, consistency, and the next 3 points. But as Tuesday approaches and St. Mirren prepare to arrive at Ibrox, the conversation has already shifted to what must happen beyond the pitch. With January growing closer, the transfer window is no longer a distant thought, but a looming decision. Internally, there is acknowledgement that the squad may require more than minor adjustments. Some players have been pillars for years, but there is a growing discussion about whether certain figures have passed their peak or lost the sharpness required to compete at the level Rangers demand. High-pressure matches have exposed weaknesses that cannot be ignored much longer. A defensive error here, a missed opportunity there, and suddenly the narrative returns to familiar territory, leadership mentality, standards. The idea of a rebuild no longer feels dramatic, it feels necessary. Selling a key midfielder, even one who still holds value in the market, may be the only path to creating the financial flexibility needed for a true reset. No one wants to see an important asset go, but sentiment cannot dictate decisions when the club is trying to compete for silverware. Names are beginning to circulate around potential targets, and one that has gained momentum is a young goalkeeper currently playing south of the border. He is seen as a long-term option, someone who could be developed into a reliable first choice for years to come. With his current club dealing with financial instability and the very real threat of relegation, the opportunity for a reasonable fee is there. Rangers, for once, would approach the window not with desperation but with strategy. It speaks to a broader shift. Rather than repeating previous windows that threw money at individual problems, the club appears to be considering a structured rebuild, one that prioritizes long-term stability over quick fixes. This moment arrives after past recruitment decisions failed to deliver what was promised. Millions were spent months ago, yet too few of those arrivals have made a meaningful impact. The squad still looks like a patchwork of ideas instead of a united plan. That is why the upcoming window carries weight. It is not simply about adding new players. It is about correcting mistakes, trimming the excess, and building a core that can compete with clarity of purpose. If the right decisions are made, this could be the moment when Rangers finally reclaims identity, direction, and credibility in the title race. At the same time, a separate debate has resurfaced, one focused not on overseas targets, but on talent much closer to home. There is frustration from former figures associated with the club who believe Rangers have drifted away from valuing Scottish players. They look back on previous eras when the team combined ambition with domestic understanding, signing players who knew the league, the expectations, and the pressure of wearing that badge. The complaint is not that Rangers should avoid foreign signings. The argument is about balance. Why allow promising young players from within Scotland to thrive elsewhere only to become too expensive or too late to pursue? Why ignore footballers who have proven they can handle the demands of the Premiership while searching abroad for speculative replacements? Those critics insist this is not about romance or nostalgia. It is about identity, practicality, and the importance of having a group that understands every away ground, every rivalry, every expectation. They believe that if Rangers rediscovered a stronger Scottish core, it could complement the club's ambition rather than limit it. It is a call for humility, a reminder that rebuilding does not always mean looking far away. Sometimes the answer is already on your doorstep. The club must decide whether it will continue ignoring that pool of talent or finally use it to strengthen the foundation that has been shaky for far too long. Rangers step into this stretch of the campaign knowing there is no margin for hesitation. Every fixture feels heavier, every decision carries a consequence, and every performance shapes the mood around Ibrox. As the squad prepares for the next match at home, there is a lingering awareness that even a victory does not silence the questions. The manager speaks with determination, repeating that the title race is still alive, that nothing has been decided, and that the season remains long. Supporters want to believe him, and there are moments that justify that belief. But the inconsistency earlier in the campaign continues to hover in the background. The task is not just to collect 3 points, but to build rhythm, confidence, and identity. It is about proving that this team can step onto the pitch and control a match from the opening whistle instead of reacting to pressure. In training, there has been a notable emphasis on structure and decision-making, particularly in the defensive and midfield units. The coaching staff want a team that presses with purpose instead of chaos, that holds possession with a plan rather than hesitation. When the standards are met, Rangers look like a side capable of pushing for the title. When they are not, the gaps become visible and the difference between an experienced team and a complete squad is exposed. Veterans in the group have tried to set the tone, but even they have struggled at times to deliver in decisive moments. This is where the debate about leadership begins to shape the narrative again. Leadership cannot be something that is spoken about. It must be shown in 90 minutes of football under pressure in the final quarter of a match when the stakes rise. That is why the January window matters more than usual. It feels like a moment that will either sharpen Rangers into a contender or leave them stuck repeating the same cycle. The idea of a rebuild is not about ripping everything apart. It is about correcting what has gone wrong and strengthening where there is weakness. The squad needs balance, reliability, and players who do not shrink under expectation. If certain exits are required to make that happen, then those decisions have to be taken without hesitation. It is not an easy reality for supporters who feel attached to individuals who have served the club for years, but football does not pause out of sentiment. If someone no longer fits the plan or cannot deliver to the level required, then the path forward becomes clear. Thank them for their contribution and build for the future. Talk around, a young goalkeeper from south of the border, continues to grow, and it is not difficult to see why. He is young, talented, and already gaining international experience despite his age. His current club sits under financial strain, with relegation looming, and that creates an opportunity. Rangers are not the only side watching him, but what Ibrox offers is a platform, a club chasing trophies, a passionate support, and the chance to grow into a first-choice number one for many years. The plan would not be to replace anyone out of disrespect, but to prepare for what comes next. Every great club thinks ahead, every successful side plans for the transition before it becomes a crisis. Meanwhile, the debate about domestic recruitment refuses to fade. Former players still argue that Rangers have overlooked too much talent within Scotland, losing potential signings to clubs that identified their value earlier. The worry is that the club has fallen into a habit of searching abroad for players who may or may not adapt, while ignoring footballers who know the league, the rivalries, and the intensity of representing Rangers. They point to examples of Scottish players who have gone on to succeed elsewhere, proving that the potential was obvious if anyone had truly looked. The criticism is not about being traditionalist or refusing progress. It is about building a squad that reflects the environment it plays in. There's no drawback to combining foreign quality with homegrown hunger. That formula has worked before, and supporters know it can work again. This is especially important with the fixture list ahead. The schedule in the coming weeks leaves no breathing room. Matches come quickly, and the team cannot afford to stumble. St Mirren, Aberdeen, Hearts, and Celtic are all fights that require precision and personality. There are no easier games in this league, no nights where Rangers can simply show up and expect victory. Teams see a wounded giant and raise their intensity. Playing against Rangers is a chance to make a statement, and opponents treat it like a cup final. This is why mentality matters. This is why leadership matters. It is not enough to play well for 45 minutes or dominate possession without purpose. Matches must be killed off, moments must be seized, and the standard must be upheld from the first whistle to the last. Inside the training center, the message from the staff remains consistent. Control the controllable, stay focused on the challenge in front of you, and let performances speak louder than speculation. For the supporters, that is easier said than done. They have watched Rangers rise before, and they have watched the club falter. They know that promise and progress are not the same thing. They want a team that demands respect instead of asking for patience. They want to see energy in the press, confidence on the ball, and authority in both boxes. They want performances that do not rely on luck or narrow margins. They want a side that plays like every point matters. That pressure is not a negative. It is part of what makes Rangers what it is. Ibrox is not a ground where mediocrity is tolerated. It never has been. Those who wear the badge must be able to handle the demands that come with it. It is not enough to be technically gifted. Rangers players must be willing to fight, to work, to commit. Whether the board, the manager, and the dressing room respond to that challenge will be revealed in the coming weeks. The pitch will tell the truth. The results will decide the tone of the season, and the transfer window will either become a moment of clarity or a missed opportunity. For Rangers to move forward, every part of the club must align: recruitment, coaching, mentality, and identity. The pieces are there, but they must be assembled with conviction. There will be moments of uncertainty and frustration, but that cannot become an excuse to stand still. Standing still in football is the same as falling behind. The standard does not drop simply because the squad has not found consistency. The standard is set by the club's history, and history does not change. History demands Rangers compete, push, and rise. Rangers know that the next match is not just another fixture on the calendar, but a chance to send a message. If this team can come out with conviction, take control early, and play with authority, the atmosphere inside Ibrox will shift. The supporters are not asking for perfection. They are asking for identity. They want to see a team that looks certain of what it is trying to achieve, a team that dictates the tempo instead of reacting to it. If the players embrace that responsibility, the energy in the stands will follow. One strong performance can calm nerves, restore belief, and set the tone for what comes next. The tension around the January window will continue to linger, but performances on the pitch can make those conversations feel less like a crisis and more like a plan. If Rangers can show progress before signings arrive, then any additions will be joining a squad that is moving in the right direction rather than trying to pull one out of trouble. The opposite scenario is where danger lies. If inconsistency continues, the pressure on recruitment will become suffocating. That is why these upcoming fixtures matter beyond the points on the table. They will decide whether January is an opportunity to strengthen or a scramble to fix problems that should have been addressed long ago. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. In what is sending shockwaves through Ibrox, whispers around the Rangers camp suggest a bombshell is imminent. Nicholas Raskin could be on his way out. The Belgian midfielder, who has steadily grown into a pivotal figure for the Gers, reportedly faces a crossroads in his career, leaving team and fans alike in utter disbelief. Sources close to the club claim the decision was far from easy, described as heavy and painful by insiders, with the dressing room reportedly stunned by the news. Raskin's influence on the pitch has been undeniable. Known for his tireless work ethic, precise passing, and ability to dictate tempo, he has often been the linchpin in Rangers' midfield machinery. To see him linked with a departure has sent a ripple of concern throughout the Ibrox faithful, who have come to admire his commitment and skill. Conversations in the corridors of the club suggest that discussions over his future have been tense, with management weighing financial realities against sporting ambition. Speculation is rife about where Raskin could end up. Some suggest a move abroad is on the cards, while others hint at rival clubs in the UK already circling, eager to secure his signature. The uncertainty has left teammates visibly unsettled, sources say, as they grapple with the prospect of losing one of their key contributors. The atmosphere in training, normally vibrant and upbeat, is reportedly subdued, with whispers of big changes circulating among the squad. For the supporters, it's a roller coaster of emotions. The hope remains that some last-minute resolution could keep Raskin in blue, yet the signs point to a chapter closing at Ibrox. Fans are left questioning what this means for Rangers' immediate future, especially in midfield stability and squad depth. Whether the move materializes or not, one thing is clear. This is a decision that will be felt far beyond the pitch, resonating through the club's corridors, its loyal fans, and the wider Scottish football community. Rangers have yet to comment officially, but the murmurs are enough to keep everyone on edge. Nicholas Raskin's next move may well define not only his own career trajectory, but the direction of the club itself. And the speculation alone has already made its mark on the psyche of Ibrox. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned